topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Walt Lusk, and we are on the couch with Dr. Judy, and this is Dr. Judy WTF. Hope you guys have had a great week. We sure have. We've got a fun-filled, factual show for you today. And WTF is also What the Fun.
What the fun?
What the fun.
Wow, you change this every week, Walt. You're so creative.
I know. Well, thank you very much. You have no idea.
Well, we're about to find out. So first of all, I just want to reach out to my audience and say that I really, really appreciate my fans. I've got my number one fan, Carl Hennigan, who is also my ghostwriter. I guess he's now not ghost anymore. He has appeared officially.
He's got a name.
Yeah, he's got a name. And we're going to talk about my book, his book called Lucid Darkness, which is a psychological thriller about a woman who creates a psychologist who creates a mind map to heal human disconnects. So we'll talk about that. I also want
It was a great book. I had the privilege of being one of the first readers of it, and it'll be out soon. It'll be available probably in Amazon ebook first.
I want you guys to know that Walt sat there for many, many nights picking away at commas and periods.
Words and phrases.
Thank you.
You know, I got to admit, it was a lot of fun, but editing a book is a little more work than I had expected.
Well, I suckered you into it.
Yes, you did. I toasted a few brain cells at it, but I was completely sober, by the way.
So anyway, I just also want to reach out to the people who have loved me for many years, my family in Montreal, Canada, my cousin Tom and Susie, and my friends Sona and Val in Utah, and all my patients who patiently bear with my system, because as you know, most of all, you know how difficult it is for you to take yourselves through a system that literally requires of you to tell truths, ugly truths that are painful at first, but ultimately very releasing.
Oh, absolutely.
And carves out a lot of freedom. So I'm very, very appreciative of you, and very appreciative that you have buckled your seatbelt and you're staying on the ride.
I have always had a lot of respect for the mental health professionals. They actually come to your office. They tell you all the deep, dark secrets, sometimes leave a blubbering mess, pay for the privilege, and then they come back.
Can you imagine? They come back?
Yes, they do.
Well, some run.
Run away or run too, depending.
They run, and then I have a few people lately who run, and then I call them and say, wait a minute, we're in the middle of this process. It's supposed to suck. It's called resistance. So when you're up against something that's been hurting for a really long time, then the tendency is to run away from it and not go into the darkness, so to speak, to get to the light. But there really is a light at the end of the tunnel.
And that's the byline of your book, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to go into the darkness to get to the light.
And that's the lucid darkness.
Yes, it is.
That's right.
And also, I always say when you talk about resistance, the only way to build muscles is through resistance.
We built a lot of therapeutic muscles in my office, yes.
So one guy who's a little muscly these days, I think it's in the news, I thought we'd start with, is none other than Mr. Simon himself from X Factor. He's been a very busy bad boy.
Well, Simon, I know that he's usually on the other side of the deal, where he's picking apart everybody. And again, he's just a figurehead for certain terms that I'm going to kick around here, like when we've been wounded and we've been injured in the first core of our lives, which is the first few years of life. When that doesn't go right, then we don't really have a lot of give to us. We don't have a lot of emotional generosity toward other people. So Walt and I pulled an article on Simon Cowell to illustrate.
The lead-in was very funny. Is Simon's penis could land him in the penile system.
Love that. Yeah, it all does start with inception, doesn't it?
Yes,
Conception,
it does.
Inception.
Conception. You know, if I say some people want to see the birth, forget that. I don't want to see filming of the birth. I want to see the inception.
I knew it, Walt, and we will analyze that.
Okay, please do. You know, the thing is, Simon, those who don't know, he has been hanging around with his best friend's wife, and they're bestest friends, and unfortunately, he got a little bit too intimate with her, and she got pregnant.
Wow.
And his best friend's wife, her name is Lauren Silverman. His best friend is Andrew Silverman. Andrew is actually a mogul in the real estate world. And actually, Lauren is a socialite in New York. Although what's interesting is, under Andrew's nose, with his blessings, he would fly to England and hang out with Simon and do all this other stuff. And then she would call him all times of the day, and hubby Andrew would know this. So this was all done under his nose, and obviously a little more happened than he had expected.
Well, okay. So one thing I want to say is everything's a system. So it's impossible to say that this one didn't play her part and that one didn't play his part and that one didn't play his part. So there's a his part, her part. So creation of a system.
That's a lot of parts.
It's a lot of parts, a lot of moving parts, right? A lot of pregnant parts.
Well, I was
now.
going to say in and out parts, actually, probably.
That's right. So first of all, what a friend. I mean, geez, he really came through for his best friend.
He actually came through. Yes, indeed.
What are friends for? Right?
Absolutely.
So the first thing I want to talk about is some comments.
Well,
that
first
he
off, Simon
made.
hates bad publicity.
I'm sorry, Simon.
Even though Donald Trump always said any kind of publicity is good publicity.
I'll tell you what, Simon. I'll make a deal with you right now, okay? I rip you apart today just a little bit. You could do that to me on. Oh, I know. If I go on your show and start singing, you will. You'll have a blast ripping me apart. I'm not very good at it. I'm willing to do that for you. Go ahead.
Oh, by the way, just for the record, he is 53 and she's 36.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But we'll rip Simon first, and then we'll talk about Lauren. She's no angel either.
Okay, so first of all, Simon, I'm not ripping you. I'm ripping the darkness in you. I want to make this really clear, because anytime I do therapy, whether it be on my patients or my own family, sorry, you guys, I am not ripping at the light. I'm ripping at the darkness, because it's really the darkness that keeps us from manifesting the best of our best. So there are aspects to every human being that are shadowed over. And for those of you who have seen my mind map, you know that the way my mind flows around the concept of how I look at psychopathology and life itself is that I follow the flow of life. Life is created, and then there's entropy, and we fall apart in various ways when we come across barriers, and then we reintegrate and hopefully bump up to a higher level. So that's the flow of life. So oftentimes always what happens is when we're born, short of falling on our head, short of pre-birth trauma and injuries that could be psychological and physical, we're born perfect. There are no problems. We don't have obsessions. We don't have compulsions. We don't have addictions. We don't have depression. We don't have anxiety. We're born in pretty good shape. And then depending on who we're handed into the arms of, that light either gets reinforced or the shadows start blocking our light, or a combination usually of both of them takes place. So let's run Simon.
Well, he says here he doesn't have the attitude. He doesn't have a nurturing attitude, and he wants to really more concentrate on his work and his career. The guy makes millions of dollars a year.
Right.
Very influential in the entertainment world.
Right.
Doesn't have time for a kid.
Okay, he doesn't have time for a kid. Okay, so the way I look at things is that when people bring in their symptoms, whether it be, so right now we're looking at, he's not bringing in the symptom. He's just simply saying, I don't have time for a kid. Which leads me to start a hypothesis cooking in my mind that says something like, well, I'm wondering if his parents had the time of day for him. I'm wondering if Simon was nurtured to the extent where he was appreciated just for being Simon, not for being handsome, not for being rich, not for being famous, not for anything more than being a little kid who was loved just because, not for any other reason than that. So what happens when we're not loved for who we are in a very unconditional loving fashion, what happens is that we think that we have to perform. and we have to be something more than who we are.
Well, he's quite the performer.
Yeah, I mean, that's not always a bad thing because,
I mean,
we do
Simon's
have
quite
to,
the performer.
Yeah, he certainly is. It's not necessarily a bad thing. We all want to improve ourselves. We want to make money. We want careers, and we want to be known and famous in our own right, so to speak. But when that part of our mothering, our nurturing isn't complete, then what tends to happen is instead of being a being, we are a doing. Instead of being a connecting machine, we're a money-making machine. So when I read this article about Simon, I'm reading things like, the problem has always been how much time you need to devote to bringing up kids. Well, yeah, we need to devote time to bringing up kids.
How do children spell love? Time.
Perfect. I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm imagining, Simon, that maybe you didn't have a lot of time spent on you, and so therefore you don't have a lot to give to kids.
Well, WTF is that?
Yeah, well, so yeah, exactly. So what the way we're parented is the way we parent. So if we weren't given to, then we don't have the give.
Right, we don't have anything to
just
give.
don't
Right,
have the
exactly.
give. So throughout this article, I'm hearing things like, I just don't want to give. Look, I don't want babies the same way. I don't want a puppy. It's too much responsibility. Let's see what else he says. If I had I couldn't have children. If I have them drawing on the walls, I'd go nuts. Okay.
Even though my definition of children is they're just little scientists.
Yeah, little scientists. So, and he goes on to say, I sort of want people born at the age of 10, I think.
Well, they could adopt.
Yeah, he could.
Yes.
Yeah. So I ask you, do you think that you would want to have a father that has this kind of a consciousness?
Chances are, no, thank you.
No, thank you. No, thank you. So here's a man who, first off, got his best friend's wife pregnant. So let's go to a brand new idea here that in order to have good ethics, we need good mental health. So if we're not given to, then we end up being wounded. And the wound that I'm seeing with Simon is a very common wound that exists more and more in today's society. It's called a narcissistic injury. So when we're narcissistically injured, we tend to exhibit narcissistic behavior. And these comments that we spelled out are indicators of narcissism. It's not about the baby, it's about me. I'm too busy. I'd rather that you be 10. Oh, I'd rather have a girl. I'd rather have a girl because God forbid that you're a boy, you might be a little bit too much competition. What if you're cuter than I am? What if you're more successful? What if your penis is bigger than mine? Okay, so now we're getting down to it.
Size matters?
Well, in the eyes of the father, yes, sometimes in the eyes of the injured father, anything matters. Age matters, fingerprints matter, everything matters because they don't matter. Right. That's the problem. They don't matter. So, yeah.
Well, Lauren isn't any angel either. I mean, she had her first fling at age 16 with her high school teacher.
So
a 2-month sexual affair. They even engaged in it in the classroom after tutoring sessions.
Really?
And of course, this occurred in England, and he was asked to leave, which is interesting. That was about the biggest punishment he received, and then she left soon thereafter. So she's had a thing for older men, for all her life.
So if we shrink her, then we can come up with a few hypotheses. Not knowing anything about her parenting, it seems as though she was lacking a father figure.
Yes,
so
very much so.
Yeah, she latched on to this older man, and she was easy prey because he probably sensed her neediness and stepped right in and filled in those
needs.
Needs. Thank you. So anyway, getting back to mental health and ethics. When we're narcissistically injured, we do what I call a psychological accounting. If we're not given to, then there's this tendency to feel that we need to be given to more.
I mean, does that mean kind of like we're owed?
Yeah, it's called entitlement.
I'm being entitled? Okay.
Yeah, narcissism is another word for entitlement. So when there isn't enough of those needs met, and let's go over them again because they're very important. When a child isn't nurtured, isn't receiving skin contact, eye contact, consistency, time, when the parent isn't putting the child's needs before his or her own needs, then the child will be narcissistically injured. To make up for that, they will feel a sense of entitlement. So when there's a sense of entitlement in their consciousness, then they will do a little bit of what I call psychological bookkeeping or accounting. So if, for example, Simon did feel that he had enough of, then he'll just take a little more on the other end of the on the other end of the deal. So why not take his best friend's wife?
Well, they were also in the process of getting divorced. They've been having marital challenges. So in his mind, hey, it's inevitable. Why not?
Why not? That's a great. Yeah, why not? Right?
Why not? Why not?
Why not just step all over his best friend? Why not just not wait until they're officially divorced, which would be ethical, and then make other decisions? Why not take other people's feelings into consideration? Because his feelings were never taken into consideration.
And of course,
that's why not.
And she probably wanted to get pregnant because she knew that with having this child, every need of the moms and definitely of her child is going to be met. Simon's got the cash to do it.
Did her ex, I'm soon to be ex, have the cash?
I believe he did. He was a real estate mogul in New York. So chances are, she's a socialite. So odds are.
Okay, so if she didn't get enough, then she wants to double dip. She's going to get the alimony and child support from her ex.
Well, she's definitely double dipping.
Oh, she's... That's what I love about your mind. It's even more warped than mine. Thank goodness.
Thank you, doctor. She's double dipping already. I mean, from the get go, right?
I love one-upsmanship, Walt. So she gets to double dip. She's got alimony.
Absolutely.
She's got child support. She's got alimony. She won't have child support because if obviously
It's
this is Simon's child,
baby. Right.
And then she'll have a wealth of money,
wealth of who knows what,
everything from Simon.
Connection, maybe.
But she'll have monetary connection. But what she will not have from someone who is narcissistically injured is she will not have human connection. This man doesn't want to even see the child until the child is 10 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not even with a puppy.
No, definitely. Children should be, what do they say?
Seen and not heard.
Seen and not heard. Yeah. So you can imagine what. Do you have the panels up there?
I do. I have the panels up. I'm going to say you are listening to Dr. Judy WTF. You're actually on the couch with her, and if you want to call in and discuss about this, you certainly can. Our phone numbers directly today is area code 323-284-7826. I should have put that in the beginning of the show. 323-284-7826.
So welcome call-ins. Come on, give me
come on
some
down.
Challenges. I want to hear from you people so that you can give me some
whether you're narcissistic
some grist
or not
for the mills, and let's get on the couch.
But we do have some panels. Which panel do you want?
One.
Numero uno.
Numero uno.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. So panel one.
The mind map is a system that Judy developed over 12 years ago. She's been amazingly successful. As I say, she has lots of patience. It's a 9-panel system, and panel 1 is up there for those of you who can see it.
Panel 1 is the motherboard.
Motherboard.
Pun intended.
Okay.
Panel 1 is the causal panel. Panel 1 is where everything begins. So when you're born, everything is fine, no problems. And then what happens is that depending on whose arms you end up in, it's either going to go well for you or terribly for you, or usually somewhere in between. The shadows that our parents cast over us are multi-generational. It's not their fault that they are also, I call them, infiltrated with their own darkness, but it is our job to understand that we cannot put our infiltrated issues onto other people. So it is our responsibility to heal so that we don't injure others.
Even though you say that childhood is a hostage situation.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, childhood is a hostage situation because you have no choice. You have no choice who you're going to end up with. And again, if the people are benevolent, lucky you. If they're not so benevolent, then unlucky you.
You know,
and
you
you've
can.
got to heal.
It's
through
true.
it.
You can't pick your parents, but you can pick your friends and pick your nose, but you can't pick your parents.
No. So anyway, back to the panel one.
Yep.
That's where the whole issue starts, and this is where this panel one is called the wound. This is where you're wounded. And so it's a metaphor for the human disconnect, because ultimately everything that I'm speaking about is about connection and disconnection. So when you're disconnected from, it causes an injury. In the case of Simon, it seems like he was disconnected from. So he's very disconnected, and he doesn't have the give to his next generation. And I'm imagining that his parents didn't have the give either, because they raised a child who is wounded in that sense. So panel one is really the causal panel, and when I work with my patients, I go right for cause, and that's why the mind map is called
Be the cause.
Be the Cause.
Mm-hmm.
But we are not the cause of part one of our lives. That is our parents who infiltrate us with their shadows, and we are sponging up their impressions of us, and then as a result of us being sponges, because when we're infants, we're permeable membranes. Whatever the parents pump into us is who we think we are. So,
Well, you talk about the double dungeon,
Yes.
which basically that's the father and the mother.
yes.
Is that right? So
Yes.
the first relationship we do have is obviously with our parents. That's our primary one. And the mother is primary from the reflects our inside,
Yes.
and the father is the outside.
Right.
Okay, so why don't you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I'd love to. This is a
There's a
really,
double
really,
dungeon, this
really
one.
important concept, because this is how we feel trapped within our own darkness. And this is how it happens. When we're born, again, we're born into the light. When we discover that we're not exactly precious to our parents, the darkness begins. And we start sponging in their negative imprints of us, which start to generate a definition of who we think we are. So we self-define in the eyes of our parents. And that's why if you look at panel one, it looks like occluded eyes, actually. And it's meant to look that way because it's like negativity staring at you or positivity staring at you and reinforcing or taking away the light that you were born with. So following this through, the first part of the light or the darkness comes from the mother, and that's from her inside out to you. So that's trapdoor number one. If it's dark, whoa, that's not a good thing. But then
No, it's not.
not a good thing.
No.
But then if you move to panel two and you start manifesting from the wound, and you're hoping that somebody is going to negate her impressions of you, then you try to go outside of that system and you go to father. Now, father is a metaphor for the outside world. So if the first impression of you doesn't go well, then you're hoping that the second impression goes a little bit better. But if father is absent, or father is equally as non-mirroring, non-nurturing, non-connecting as mother, then you're stuck in this zone that I call the double dungeon: darkness from within and darkness from without. And here's how it really plays out in therapy. Okay.
'Cause there's a lot of folks out there that don't have a father. I mean, that's massively huge
It's a
today.
huge problem today.
Yes, it is.
Right. There are a lot of baby mamas and a lot of people who don't take responsibility for parenting their children, and so this is epidemic, and that's why we're so narcissistically injured as a society. So it plays out this way.
Well, there's Simon.
There's Simon, right? Okay, so it doesn't play out well, because what happens is, as a result of the injury, we become symptomatic. So we go into depression, anxiety, obsessions, compulsions, addictions, so on. So these are the symptoms people come into therapy with, and they say, help me solve the problem. I have a problem. I'm drinking too much. I'm smoking too much. I'm overeating. Help me solve the problem. And I say to them, no, that's not the problem. That's the symptom. That's the symptom of cause. We've got to look at cause. So what I do is I find the disconnect from the first few years of life, and I've got to play psychological detective to figure out what happened there, because there's no memory. There may be stories, but there's no memory. So it doesn't really play out very well, because the double dungeon ends up trapping the person into a very nasty core belief.
Sounds like hell to me.
It's total hell.
Yeah.
Okay, so the impression from the mother is you're not worth much, and then the impression from the father is you're not worth much, because maybe the father's not even there. So now, wow, I'm not worth much in my mother's eyes, and I'm not worth much in my father's eyes. And therefore, the person learns to project out this sense of I'm not worth much, which then gets mirrored back from the society. Yeah, you're right, you're not worth much, because that's what they're projecting out there. So the whole thing gets reinforced. It's very confusing. They really, really believe, people really believe I'm unlovable, I'm worthless,
I'm not worthy,
I'm stupid, I'm a loser, and just goes on and on and on and on. And my job is to bust this lie, because it is a lie. It's something that was taken in and really swallowed whole without question by that human being.
Exactly.
And then is now played out in their entire scenarios, which will bring us to relationships, why we choose who we choose, and how we connect and disconnect, and sometimes make a mess of our lives, and sometimes not.
Well, I think this brings us to a song. I hear a song coming.
Yes,
On
I hear a song coming.
On the show, we do Shrink That Tune. And today we're going to do one from Maroon 5. Somebody to Love, I think is what it's called. And so what we're going to do is play it, and then we're going to shrink it. Love Somebody. So here's Maroon 5, Love Somebody. Oh, didn't play. I'll have to figure out how to do this now. There we go. Lost it. Well, we lost it. We're going to do the words first, and then we'll play the song. How's that?
Yeah.
I know your insides are feeling so hollow, and it's a hard pill for you to swallow. But if I fall for you, I'll never recover. If I fall, I'll never be the same. Here we go. And that was Love Somebody by Maroon 5. And you are listening to Dr. Judy, WTF. And you're on the couch with Dr. Judy and Be the Cause. And you can be the cause if you'd like to. You can call in. We'd love to chat with you no matter where you are in the world. The number is 323-284-7826. I'm Walt Luskin. Of course, this is Dr. Judy Rosenberg. And what we're going to do now in terms of shrinking that tune is we're going to shrink it. We're going to read the words, and Dr. Judy is going to put her magic on it. So, I know your insides are feeling so hollow, and it's a hard pill for you to swallow. But if I fall for you, I'll never recover. If I fall for you, I'll never be the same.
Okay, so let's go to panel 1, and let's talk about feeling so hollow. When we are not being attended to, when we're not attuned to, there's nobody there. There's nobody with us inside our being. So there's the wound. There is exactly...
It's a huge wound.
It's a huge wound.
Yeah.
It's called the hole in the soul.
Yeah, big hole in the soul.
So here are these beautiful words. I know your insides are feeling so hollow. So here's this person who is talking about their insides feeling so hollow, and the fact that if he falls for someone, he'll never recover. So who's the first person we ever fall for?
Mom.
Duh. Okay. So if we fall for mom and she doesn't do a really, really, really good job, then sometimes we will just never recover. So what we do is we close all gates and we become what I call an impermeable membrane. Remember biology, remember permeable membranes, cells, semi-permeable membranes, and non-permeable membranes. Okay, a cell is designed, us humans, we're a bunch of cells, right? We're designed to take in and to give. And if there's a problem with the taking in part, which there is in this particular case, then we shut down. We're in panel 5 defense mechanisms. Done. The gates are closed and never recover.
The walls are up.
Walls are up. Never recover. If I fall for you, I'll never be the same.
So we have the chorus. I want to love somebody. I really want to dance the night away. I know we're only halfway there, but you can take me all the way. You can take me all the way. I really want to love somebody. I think about you every single day. I only know we're only halfway there, but you can take me all the way. Take me all the way.
This is so hopeful and sad at the same time.
Yes,
because it's really talking about how we do want to love somebody. We do want to be loved. And we do want the joy of dancing the night away, because there's a sense of joy and aliveness when we fall in love. There's a sense of playfulness and complete sense of completeness when we can share that joy with another human being and be accepted for who we are. So there's the wish and the desire, but you can take me all the way. You can take me all the way. And there's the hope. Well, mom screwed up, but maybe you can take me all the way there. So
the sky's the limit in that regard, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
So double dungeon. Well, I need my light. I'm going to try to see if I can get this light from a relationship.
And fill in that big hole.
Absolutely. So.
And it goes on. You're such a hard act for me to follow. Love me today. Don't leave me tomorrow. But if I fall for you, I'll never recover. If I fall for you, I'll never be the same.
Right. Fear. If I fall for you, I'll never recover. Maybe you're not going to treat me anywhere. Maybe you're not going to treat me any better than mom treated me. So I may really never recover. Twice burned. Ooh. Not sure I want to get into that one.
Well, yeah, you let down those walls, and it might be a big mistake, right?
Yeah. So, and then here's this juicy part. You're a hard act for me to follow. So,
is that mom?
Yeah. Mom's a hard act to follow. Mom is always a hard act to follow. So once you fall in love, once you let those guards down, let somebody else in there, it's really hard for many people to then let somebody new in and think that they can again feel those feelings with somebody new, because they really, really want to make it work with that original person. Usually the original is, you know the rap.
I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry.
Mom.
Well, it's
Right.
mom.
Cause.
Also the mom. Yes.
Cause. Okay.
So moving on with the chorus, and then I don't know where to start. I'm just a little lost. I want to feel like we've never, ever going to stop. I don't know what to do. I'm right in front of you. Asking you to stay. You should stay with me tonight.
Stay. Do you think the person's talking about some abandonment issues, perhaps? It's a lot of stays here.
Yeah, there are a lot of stays.
Yeah.
We're dancing the night away and we're staying.
We're staying. Please don't leave. I'm just a little lost, meaning that this person never had an emotional guidance system, meaning that the parents were never really there to guide that person. So I'm a little lost, and I want to feel like we're never going to ever stop. In other words, can I finally feel safe here? Can I finally know that you're going to stay, like always stay?
Yeah, that sounds, I mean, there's a lot of fear there.
Of course.
Yeah. So, and then we have the chorus again. I really want to love somebody. I really want to dance the night away. I know we're only halfway there, but you can take me all the way. And then the last line is, you can take me all the way. You can take me all the way. So that's Love Somebody by Maroon 5. Shrink that tune here on Dr. Judy WTF. And if you want to be shrunk, you can call us. The number is area code 323-284-7826. So don't be shy. Now,
I'm waiting for Simon.
Yes.
Simon Cowell. Are you listening? Come on.
There you go.
Pick up that phone, Simon.
Well, you know, he's about 8 or 9 hours ahead, so for goodness, he might not be dancing the night away. He might be asleep.
Okay. All right. Callers,
So
pick up the
we've
phone.
Never, so it's very difficult for us if we actually do fall for someone. I mean,
Yes.
talking about relationships and divorce.
Yes.
And over half the relationships, the marriages end in divorce.
Yes.
So it's very very hard. It's very injury, right? Causing a lot of injury.
A lot of
and it's very
injury.
difficult if we marry or connect to the wrong person. And do we ever recover?
Well, there's going to always be scars, no question about it. And in my work, I find that the more the person is invested in the relationship, if it's a marriage with children and there's money and real estate and feelings and so on and so forth, the more you're invested, the more difficult it is for you to divest yourself.
Well, absolutely.
It's like you formed these bonds, and now you've got to let them go. And sometimes they detonate and devastate, as I
you
call
don't have to let
it.
them go. You sever them.
You have to
in
sever
many
them.
instances.
Right.
Hopefully not the kids, but
No. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about bonds. Panel 3. Core belief. Our core belief is formed. It begins to formulate in panel 1, which is the causal panel, and then that's the wound. And if we have a core belief that's quite negative, then we pattern off of that. We blueprint off of that, and we choose our relationships to, believe it or not, bolster our negative core belief. Isn't that sad?
bolster the negative core belief.
Yes.
What does that mean?
As sometimes we try to bolster the positive ones, but oftentimes we go unconscious and we do what Freud talks about, which is the repetition principle. We do it again. We injure ourselves again and again, relationship after relationship, and that's because we never really dealt with the cause.
So would that mean that if we go into another relationship that's kind of similar to the last, we kind of pick partners that are like the last, but maybe like our mom or father?
Yeah, we pick partners that represent the injury and not for the reasons that we think.
So that's how we bolster it.
We bolster it. We do that because,
Scary.
yeah, isn't that scary? We do that because actually we want to heal that piece of us. Like in the song, he says, look, you can take me all the way. I've come halfway maybe with my parents, but you could take me all the way. So there's this hope that that person is going to fix the hole in the soul. But then when the person doesn't fix the hole in the soul, or worse, is also narcissistically injured and also doesn't give you the bonding necessary, the eye contact, the skin contact, the unconditional love, the empathy, and all the ingredients that are necessary for healthy relationships. If that person is not successful at being a giver in those areas, then the person who chose the person feels let down. Just
So we have a
once
hole in
again.
the soul, and we're trying to pick somebody. Oh, you know what? We've got a caller. Let's see what we can do here.
Yes. Excellent.
Hey, thanks for calling. You're on the couch with Dr. Judy. Where are you calling from? Oh, and you can turn your radio down, too.
Yes, I'm calling from Houston, Texas.
Well, welcome. And you can turn your speakers on your computer down, too. They're echoing here.
Hello, Houston, Texas.
And Houston's calling. Houston, do we have a problem?
Yay, call from Houston, Texas.
Well, Judy is my buddy, and I use a lot of deep conversations. But this one brought on an idea I had. I was wondering, do people choose their mates? They say like you choose a mate that's has similar characteristics to your mother or father, even though you don't like those traits. It's a matter because you kind of understand both of them.
Well, Judy's going to answer this. So you're choosing a mate that's like your mother, your father, even you don't like those traits? Is that your question? Okay, well,
yes, exactly.
Okay. First of all, hello, Houston, Texas. So glad to speak to you, and I want to address that. Yes, you do not like those traits. Why would you like those traits? You didn't like them back then. You don't like them now. Point well taken. Why do we do that? We do that because we want to heal that injury, and we can't heal it unless we pick a person that's going to injure us the same way. If they don't injure us the same way, then we're not going to heal through that one. We're just going to have a nice time with them. So there's a kind of a method to the madness, and the method, the psychological method is let's resurrect mom. Let's play that tune again. Let's play that script all over again. And this time we're going to rewrite it with a very happy ending, and then I'll be whole and complete, and we can dance the night away.
So you're trying to relive the pain that you had and,
Right.
and trying to fix it when in fact it probably is going to add insult to injury and make it worse.
Well, not necessarily. If you pick a conscious partner, if you pick somebody who is also wanting to grow along with you, then this thing can really be fixed between two people, because you make a deal that both of you have work to do, both of you are going to stay with each other, and both of you are going to relate to each other in connecting ways rather than disconnecting ways, and you're going to understand that you're in this deal, in this in the relationship deal to heal. I like that. That rhymes. You're in the deal to heal.
You're in the relationship deal to heal. So in other words, but that implies letting walls down in communication, does it not?
Absolutely. And that also means that the person who is injured needs to have skills, learn skills insofar as how to communicate to the person when that person is injuring them, and not blame them and shame them and criticize them for it, but rather educate them and make them aware that I need to be handled with care. This is how I respond. This is how I'd like to be spoken to. This is what will make me feel safe in the relationship.
So that's expressing expectations.
Exactly. So this very much is healable within a relationship. Again, you have to have a partner who wants to be evolving and not devolving, a partner who is really dedicated to the growth of your mind, body, and soul. And under those circumstances, you can go ahead and enter into that relationship knowing that you're just going to continue to expand your relationship skills as you shift out of your old injuries and into a place of unconditional love with this new person.
So we're going from relationship to relation shift. Is that right?
Yes.
Great point. Thanks a lot now.
Hey, well, thanks for calling.
My pleasure.
God bless.
Thank you for calling.
Well, there we go. Our first caller.
Yay.
So now somebody else can call. So I know relationships are complicated, and you've got the double dungeon, the mother on the from the inside, the father from the outside.
Yes.
And if there's a big gap or they don't meet the father or the mother or the mother doesn't meet that need, then we spend a lot of our life trying to fill it.
Yeah, we fill the hole in the soul, and we do it many different ways. Drugs, food, another drug, shopping, gambling, sex. Do you have any other favorites, Walt?
No, that covers all of them, I think.
Thank you very much.
Spank you very much.
If anybody can think of others. See, these defense mechanisms, which are the symptoms that people come in with, are actually the hieroglyphics or clues that allow us to know that there's been an injury. Because people don't just naturally want to overeat or overdrink or smoke or gamble their money away and ruin their lives. They're not born. They don't wake up one morning and say, "Hey, I think I'm gonna ruin my life." This is because there's such a drive to fill the hole in the soul that the only thing that can really calm them down is numbing that pain.
Right, and obviously that's a symptom, not the cause.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm sure as time goes by, if it doesn't get cured, then it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Always gets worse and worse and worse until the person ends up bottoming out. And that bottom might not look too pretty. That bottom might mean that they end up in the emergency room because they've gotten into a car accident, they've gotten a DUI, or
Amanda Baines, she's on a 5150 hold in a psychiatric hospital at 27 years old.
Right. So she's bottoming out. Now the question is her bottom really the bottom, or is she going to need to reach another bottom, or can she preempt that bottom and start taking proactive steps to dismantle the cause of her wound?
Well, I don't know. You see, the thing is, it's funny you should bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
She was actually sending weird and disturbing texts to a rapper. The guy was named Drake. And the one thing I found interesting is, it was kind of a Jekyll and Hyde love and hate thing, is she wrote to the rapper and said she wants him to murder her vagina.
Wow, murder her vagina.
And then she labeled him ugly. But, I mean, there's got to be some ramifications for that issue.
Well,
to do some murder to her vagina.
Well, last week we talked about her mother, and she talked about her ugly mother.
Yes, and tried to burn herself in an old person's lawn, which of course is a metaphor for her parents.
Yeah, so she tried to project this ugly concept onto Drake, but it didn't work because she ended up saying, "Oh my God, he's so handsome, he's so hot, I want him."
Yes,
okay,
that's
so
correct.
that didn't work. So the burning of the vagina thing, that's
murdering.
I'm sorry, murdering.
Murdering.
Wow. Okay, that was my Freudian slip.
Get it straight.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so the murdering of the vagina. Okay, if you murder somebody's vagina, then pretty much that person cannot reproduce.
That would preclude that, probably. Yes.
Probably. So she's saying, please wipe me out at cause. Please let me not be the cause of the pain that I'm in to another human being. Just murder. Let's get this over with. Let's stop this multi-generational transmission process right now. Kill off my vagina. My offspring will never be, so they won't have to go through the same.
Well, at least she's trying to
be
she's doing the world a favor. There aren't going to be any more of her, right?
Right. I
in
mean,
her current state.
But how sad, right, that she takes that measure to wipe out her future generation instead of wiping out the infiltration. See, Amanda, please give me a call already, okay? I'm waiting. We've got a hotline. Simon, you've got your own hotline.
Wake up, Simon.
Amanda, you've got your Lindsay Lohan. You've got another one there for you waiting. Okay, so if people realize that they don't really need to get into these injuries, they can simply address the infiltration, meaning the negativity, they can nip this in the bud.
And we have been on the couch with Dr. Judy Rosenberg. Our website, if you want to send us something, is www.drjudywtf, or you can go on Facebook or Twitter, Dr. Judy WTF. And you know what? If you want to call Judy, she's actually giving a Yelp special where you could actually have a session with her if you're in the Los Angeles area. And I've got her number here real quick. It's area code 310-739-4491. That's a direct number, Dr. Judy, and it's area 310-739-4491, and we're soon going to be letting you in on the book Lucid of Darkness, which Judy wrote.
Lucid Darkness, written by myself and Carl Hennigan,
Hennigan.
Wonderful mystery writer.
He's an awesome writer.
Awesome storyteller, awesome
and
writer.
Next week, we are going to talk about how you can get dating ready. So stay tuned. Thanks for listening, folks. Thanks for being on the couch. Have a great week.
Were there any other comments?
drift away from the meaning, and the sun melts the chill from our lives, helping us all to remember what we came here for. This is love. This is la 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 love. This is love. This is la 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 love. Little things that will change you forever may appear from way out of the blue, making fools of everybody who don't understand. This is love. This is la 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 love. This is love. This is la 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 love. This is since our problems have been our own creation, they also can be overcome when we use the power provided free to everyone. This is love. This is la 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 la. This is love. This is la 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 la. This is love. This is la 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 la. This is love. This is la 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 la. This is love. This is la 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 la. This is love. This is la 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 la.